Welcome to Walking Wilder. I'm Bark. Hope you all are doing well. This is a collective reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome in if you're new. Alright, let's see here. 2 more cards, Spirit. The crone at the bottom here. Beautiful card. Alright. The first card that came out here is the spiral. See how it kind of runs up this year. It says time for rest and repose. My feeling with this, the way they're coming out here, is that there's some process that you have been in for a while now, or something has happened that's kind of brought you to a rest, stopped you in your tracks. On this, I see this as, spiritual development, personal development, that, that kind of thing. But it's like, whatever this is, it has kind of like, I see someone walking along and it's like, boom, you stop. It's, it stopped you dead in your tracks. It's like, okay, now I have to stop here and rest. There's this feeling of really needing to rest. Stardust and soil, opposites attract. This is, for some of you, you have lost someone rather suddenly. And it has stopped you, obviously, it would, in your tracks, taking you by surprise, or, if it wasn't a sudden thing, at least the feeling of loss, the feeling of despair, the feeling of loneliness, that has surprised you. That's a strange thing to say, but that's what I'm feeling. It's like that you were not, prepared for it to feel so deep. Harvest ritual here to end or to honor the endings in life. And this encirclement, love will flourish. So there is a message here from Spirit to remember, and that might be easier said than done if this is a new thing and you've actually, lost someone who's left the physical world, that love is an eternal thing. And in all reality, yes, you lose their physical presence, but you cannot lose the love. Let's see what the cards have to say. This is sort of a heavy energy, not in a bad way, in a kind of like thoughtful way. Talk to me about this, Spirit. What is this? Death, transformation. Okay. The Empress this, she's, well, she's the embodiment of all the four queens. Here in this particular deck, she seems very grounded, very, in the way that she's standing here. Let's see if I can hold it up. To me, she looks like she's out there wandering around searching for answers, if that makes sense. It's sort of like I sense a process of releasing and letting go, and and there's a sense of memories and a sense of it's a beautiful energy, but it's somewhat sad. Well, obviously, saying goodbye is, um, but there's this. Here's the temperance. See how they are balancing. To me, this is like, again, remember the love can never die. Whoever you've lost, whether they actually left the physical world or they left your life, sometimes the grief is almost the same level. A loss is a loss if it's a person you think you will never see again, or is not going to be in your life. Um, so there's this message of finding balance within yourself, remembering, that love is, you always, on a soul level, you're always intertwined. Here's the Queen of Wands, and she is, in this deck here, she's, let's see if I can hold it up. She's, she's sitting there, and she's created this fire. She's sort of in meditation. She's very calm, very kind of peaceful. For some of you, this is a call to do a private sort of a ceremony, some sort of ritual to end this cycle, honoring the end of what is no more, honoring the transformation. Um, and I see silence. I I see the word silence is what I needed to say. And my feeling with it is this is a very personal thing. This is not, obviously if someone passed away and actually left the physical world, there's probably some sort of funeral, or whatever the case is here. But this is not what this is talking about. This is you honoring something very personal, very private, very sacred. Um, yeah, this transformation, this yeah, this transformation. That's really all I can say. This is a very different reading, very different. Um, what else do you want to say, Spirit? Is there any advice here? Five of Wands, Wheel of Fortune here, the Lovers, the Tower, and the Moon. For some of you, you can feel like there's unsaid things in this connection that you feel needed to be said or discussed, or perhaps the last time you spoke to the person, things were said that now you are regretting, or questions you would have liked to ask that you didn't ask, and so now you don't have the answer, that type of thing. Here's the Lovers, very grounded, very, kind of, this just, for some of you, this ritual, plant a tree, plant something, write a letter with this, talk out loud, whatever, there seems to be a need here to have some communication done, that obviously if one person is not there in the physical world, it will kind of at least feel for most of you like a one-way communication. It will not be. um, is what I'm getting with this. There will be some sort of response, um, in the form of signs, in the feelings, something you'll see here, all of that stuff. And again, here's the tower. This, for some of you, this was a sudden thing. You did not see it coming. Um, Here's the moon card. So it's kind of been, it's taken you by surprise, which is almost like, wow, now my chest feels heavy, and it's like, oh, I can't, when you are so, when you are so full with grief or despair that you can't breathe, um, or feel like you can't breathe. All right, Spirit, tell me more here. What advice can you give? Queen of Swords. See how she holds the swords here, and you can see how it, So to me, this is like the Queen of Swords is very, very sharp on communication. To me, in this particular reading, this tells me you can communicate with the other side. If your person is actually passed over, there is like almost a telepathic um, connection here. If you sit with this, if you pay attention, if you ground yourself, kind of follow the flow in it, then there's some energy here that you will be able to, I see, finish the conversation somehow. Okay, let's see here. Three of Swords, heartache, heartbreak, of course. Um, Eight of Swords, being in your head. Five of Pentacles, this feeling of loss, this feeling of, you know, feeling of loss. There's no, in this case, that is what it is. Eight of Swords, this, you're in your head a lot about this, but again, practice some sort of ritual. Sit with this quietly, write, listen, ask. Ask for guidance, ask for, specific small signs, that type of thing. Ace of Wands. To me, this is the phoenix rising here, which of course, is symbolizing you in this whole process, is the rebirth of the connection in a energetic way, is what I want to say with that. Here's the Emperor and the Chariot. So this moving forward from a more powerful place. It doesn't make much sense, but that's what I'm getting here. This is really a different reading. I don't know if I'm even going to post this because it's actually quite heavy. Not necessarily bad, but just, why is the Emperor here? Here's the World card. So yeah, an ending of something. But this is, of course, also, the infinity symbol. So remember this again. Love can never die. You never lose the connection. Here's the Eight of Pentacles, which of course, is this is in the physical world. This is something we're working on here. Page of Cups. Yeah, this is, pages have this useful, sort of innocent energy, and see all the waves, which is emotions and stuff. And there's this feeling of going with the flow here, just being very, um, not sentimental, that's not the word. Uh, being, in flow and yeah, of listening, you know, um, listening for, whatever messages comes through here. All right, Spirit. What else here? Basically, the overall of this is honor this process for the other person, for yourself, um, for the soul bond. This is definitely a soul bond connection. Whoop, there we go. Ten of Swords is at the bottom here, which of course is pain, is all of that, but also, as bad as it gets, if that makes sense. So, Ace of Cups, love. Eight of Wands. Yeah, here's the Ten of Cups. So this has, for many of you been a connection. That was your Ten of Cups. And this loss is leading to some sort of awakening. For some of you, this whole process of honoring this, of making rituals and stuff, is going to awaken something in you that you're going to, work with moving forward. Some of you might sharpen your psychic abilities, your intuition, your ability to communicate. Here's the Knight of Cups. So again, Ace of Cups. See how the energy is kind of flowing here, coming from both sides. Really, I honestly, this is definitely talking about you being able to somehow communicate on a soul level, maybe your higher self in the 5D realm, all of that good stuff. But it's also, the feeling is very much, yeah, this is obviously a loss, but there's a big focus on honoring the connection, honoring this specific time, honoring the gifts that you brought into each other's lives, um, releasing any resentment or sadness that has to do with not being, not feeling like you said everything you need to say, asked all you needed to ask, that kind of thing. That is like, Spirit is like, no, over here we are focusing on the energy in the connection, the love in the connection itself. I have never done a reading like this before. King of Pentacles, the Hermit, Six of Cups at the bottom here. Memories, all of that. The Hermit is also this going within, seeing, well, you can't really say the gifts in this, um, seeing the love in this, seeing the soul bond, and King of Pentacles, all the abundance that brought into your life. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say, Spirit? Otherwise, I think I'll leave it here. This is for, obviously not for everybody. If this resonates with you, you have my deepest sympathy. The high priestess. Yeah, intuitively work with this in your own time, your own speed, your own, this is not there's no rush here. This is a process, yeah, I don't even know how to, here's the Five of Swords. Why is the Five of Swords here, Spirit? Four of Swords. I think this has to do with don't torture yourself unnecessarily. Going back to this over here, if you feel like there were things you should have said, things you should have done differently, things that should have, would have, could have, they're saying don't use your energy on that. Page of Swords, again, see how she's connected to the higher realms. If you feel a need to say something, then say something. Say it out loud. Go out, sit underneath a tree, go to the ocean, go to, whatever is a sacred place for you, perhaps some place you used to come together or whatever it is, and say the things that needs to be said and let it go. Make some sort of ceremony, write it down, burn it, whatever, feels right to you. Um, but don't hang on to it. Don't torture yourself. In the greater schemes of things, it makes absolutely, it makes no difference because love is eternal. All this bickering human stuff, yeah, yeah. See the Hanged Man, see it from a different angle. Focus on the love, not on the what you think should have been done differently or what you couldn't fix, what you couldn't, whatever your situation is. Focus on the love. Focus on the fact that love never dies, that the connection will always be there. Yes, it's transformed, um, but the love has not. The love is still there. And this will, in time, help you open up for gifts you didn't know you had. Um, yeah. One last card, Spirit. One last card. And they gave me 3. Yeah, 5 of Cups. Sadness, sorrow, pain. Here's the 7 of Wands. This often have to do to boundaries. Here, I feel kind of like it's you again, having the discussions with yourself, kind of beating yourself up, thinking, oh, I shouldn't have, blah, 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 blah. Or perhaps, other people are telling you how to let go. Um, don't, disregard it. Totally disregard it. Follow what is true to you. Follow your intuition. Here's the star. So this healing energy, healing here is done in your own time, at your own pace, in your own way. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Whether this is a physical loss or, someone, or, some sort of relationship that has ended. This was a soul bond connection regardless of if the person left the physical world or not. Um, and this is a chance to honor something that has lasted lifetimes, is what I'm hearing. So, yeah, very, very different reading. I, again, I obviously don't hope you resonate with this, which is also a weird thing to say. But if you do, all my love. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Big love.